A historic night for professional wrestling, not only for AEW, but also for NXT. AEW crowns a brand new TBS champion and brand new tag team champions. Out on NXT, Bron Breakker finally breaks Tommaso Ciampa and becomes the new NXT champion. Rico and Glorioso and myself, Jose G, will jump into all of this and more tonight on the Debrief. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Debrief here on Sportskeeda Wrestling's All Elite page. We are live right now. You know what time it is, so go ahead and share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group. Make sure you're hitting that like, share, and subscribe and smashing that notification bell so you never miss whenever we drop brand new content. Go ahead and give us a follow on all of our social media so you're always up to date with what we're doing. We got tons of stuff for you this week. A lot of stuff ahead of the Royal Rumble, so never miss whenever we drop brand new stuff. Rico, big night tonight, dude. Two new champions crowned on NXT. On AEW last night, NXT. Great week so far in pro wrestling. Monday night, we had a great show. We had a great day. Dude, it's been a great week in pro wrestling.
And it's not over yet because we still have two more shows to go this week with AEW Rampage on Friday and Battle of the Belts on Saturday. So who knows how many other title changes we are going to be getting this week. Man. This is a great way to start off the new year. 2022, this is, again, we talked about it before, it's going to be the platinum age of wrestling, and it's starting off hot this week. I can't wait to go over it with you, Jose.
Guys, go ahead and sound off in the comments what you thought of both AEW Dynamite and NXT 2.0. Fire off your questions and let us know where you're watching from if you're tuning in for the very first time. But let's get into these shows, man. Let's get into AEW Dynamite, the first Dynamite of the year on another network on TBS. And man, this show delivered from top all the way to the bottom to the main event. I could not find anything bad with this show tonight. I really couldn't. The show was solid. Very minimal on the vignettes. We didn't have a ton of vignettes tonight. Not a whole lot of backstage interviews. It was just really good matches after really good matches. Opening up the show, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, going up against the AEW champion, Hangman Adam Page, and another barn burner, another banger of a match. Both guys bleeding profusely in the ring within the first 15 minutes of the match. It was a hard-hitting match. We thought it was going to be another 60-minute Broadway, but it was halfway there, around the 30-minute mark. Tremendous matchup. Hangman hits that buckshot lariat to get the win over the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Another masterpiece at work here tonight.
And this was a solid, clean win. This is the kind of win that you need. It's a statement win for Hangman Adam Page to truly solidify himself as the AEW champion, especially having gone, just like you mentioned, 60 minutes last time with no judges, just a time limit draw. This time we did have 3 judges at ringside just in case, three legends in their own right. We did have the World Strongest Man.
I'm glad that it didn't come down to that. Yeah, because again, it goes back to my argument from last week. How do you judge a wrestling match, right? So I what I did enjoy, that you see Mark Henry and you see Paul White, you see Jeremy Lin, and they're just there and they're just seriously watching the match and taking notes and just really analyzing, not giving out any emotions, just being very serious, non-biased, playing to the character of a judge. They didn't have to use the judge, but I still found that part a little bit entertaining too. Overall, man, this match delivered. I think we might get a third one, dude. I think we might get one more. But we'll see. We'll see what happens down the road with that matchup. What was your initial thoughts of the entire match?
Oh, I liked it. Once again, these are two of the best professional wrestlers at this time, arguably could be ever, once it's all said and done. Just putting on a great a great match. They told a great story once again. It's all about, Daniel Bryan playing to his stamina and then still doing his jumping jacks and playing to the judges. So just showing him like, oh, I'm still the technical master here. I'm taking this at my pace. So that way, if it does happen to go to the judges' scorecard, it looks like he's the more dominant one out of the match. And of course, him picking at Hangman's arm the entire match. So really trying to nullify the buckshot lariat and to set him up for the label lock. So they told a really great story, especially with all the counters. They knew what to expect from each other, from, the moonsaults that got missed, the buckshots being, ducked under, the Busaiko knee getting, countered. So like they told a really good back and forth. And I was getting ready. I was like, I should have got my popcorn ready, get ready to sit down for 60 minutes. And then no. And then finally, I think on the third attempt of the buckshot lariat, this time Hangman gets it nice and clean. It's a clean win. So no shenanigans or anything. So could there be a third one? I wouldn't mind, because we see that, put these two guys in the ring, they're going to put on a great match. But, I think it might be time to move on and see what else that Bryan Danielson can do with somebody else. And not to mention the storylines that we talked about before, because remember, there's two guys that are paying really close attention to this match, and that's one, MJF and CM Punk, with them, of course, having mentioned that, hey, essentially when they had the match against each other, the winner out of that match is most likely going to be the new number one contender. However, things have changed just slightly because it is a brand new year. So by AEW rules, the records are reset. Everybody has a clean slate. So officially, Hangman Adam Page is 1-0. Bryan Danielson is 0-1 to start off the match, which I love the lower third put on there. Hangman still hasn't won a match this year because obviously we just started a new year. So they continue the comedy with Hangman's lower third. But this led up to the next match, which after we had this AEW Championship match, which, like you said, thankfully didn't go to the judges' scorecard, which I'm still intrigued to see when that first match is going to happen, that the draw goes to the judges, and see how they're actually going to play it off. Because as of now, we've had two judges matches, and neither one have gone to the judges. So I'm waiting for that one time that it happens, because then you're going to have to clarify those rules on how they're scoring these matches, because they haven't really done that. At least with the UFC, they say, octagon control, aggression, takedowns, all that stuff. So we'll see if we ever get to that point. But the next match was MJF versus the captain, Shawn Dean. That ended in a DQ right away, because as soon as the match started, CM Punk runs down to the ring, MJF runs away, and Punk hits the captain with a GTS. And I'm like, wait, is he turning heel? And then, of course, Excalibur explains, because he hit Shawn Dean, he gets MJF gets disqualified. Shawn Dean is the winner via DQ, which means starting off this brand new year, MJF is 0-1 after he's been on this long streak of winning matches. In this new year, he started off on a losing streak, and CM Punk basically says, until you face me in a match, this is going to happen every single time. So you're going to have a losing record. So say goodbye to all those championship opportunities that you're looking forward to, which leads to a nice exchange between the both of them. And man, what do you think? How'd you feel about that little jab with the WWE, with MJF saying, hey, you think you're Roddy Piper, but at least he was, talented enough to main event a WrestleMania. And then Punk chiming back, oh yeah, you can go and you can main event night 4 of the buy one, get one free show that is. But when you're done there, they're going to release you faster than you last in bed. And after that, you're going to come back to AEW, and I'll still be here, and I'll still kick your ass. So how do you feel about that verbal spar match between MJF and CM Punk tonight?
This was a nice back and forth. I definitely enjoyed this one compared to some of the last ones that we've seen that were like really jaw dropping. Some of them weren't that good, but this one was a nice back and forth, because now you have Punk deliberately messing with MJF's overall AEW record, starting the new year with a loss, when last year he was undefeated. So MJF is starting the year on the wrong note, because of CM Punk. So that's going to add some animosity there. The back and forth with the whole WWE referencing and WrestleMania referencing. Listen, I love how AEW fans love to shit on WWE fans. But here's the thing. You got AEW wrestlers talking about WrestleMania, talking about their product, living in their company's head rent-free, and WWE doesn't have to say a word. All right? I know they're trying to get noticed, but you can get noticed without having to mention your competition. So I love the back and forth, but if we can keep WWE out of their mouths, I think that would help them, because you're just gonna keep getting more of the same. You're gonna keep getting more of the same week after week. You got to find another hook. That's just low hanging fruit. More low hanging fruit, Rico. Hold on, I think your mic. Let me check. I don't know if it's you or me.
Yeah, no, you're good.
There you go.
It's that time of year anyway. We're getting close to the road to WrestleMania, so it's gonna be on people's minds anyway. But like you said, you don't need to give more credit to WWE. It makes for a nice little pop from the crowd. Ooh, but you're right. At some point, it's gonna be like, all right, you guys are better than this now. You can come up with something fresh and original. You don't need to keep referring back to this. But at least for now, it was enough to get enough heat on MJF where he snaps. He's like, fine, you want a match with me? Fine. You want a match? You want a match? Yes, I'll give you a match. Next week is going to be CM Punk versus Wardlow. So we're going to get a match, Wardlow versus CM Punk. So it's kind of feeling like the 5 labors of Jericho to get to MJF at this point for CM Punk. But we're going to get there soon.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
We're going to get there soon. We know Wardlow is not on the happiest of terms right now with MJF and the rest of the Pinnacle at this moment. But he's going to get a nice little spotlight match with CM Punk next week, which I'm sure they're going to deliver. And then speaking of Wardlow, he did have another squash match. Thanks to with this time the victim was Antonio Zambrano, who got to feel not only the Powerbomb Symphony. Before the match even really got underway, he got hit with the C4 from Shawn Spears on the outside, who throws him in the ring. He's like, go ahead, pin him now. Like, he's done. He's out. Wardlow's upset, and he still hits him with not 1, not 2, 5 power bombs to poor little Antonio Zambrano. Oh, man, he did not stand a chance in hell. And again, they keep adding a little bit more and more tension between Wardlow and the rest of Pinnacle, specifically Shawn Spears and MJF. So we'll see when this all comes to a head. And we have this upcoming match eventually between MJF and CM Punk, where, again, the winner could eventually be the next contender for Hangman Adam Page's AEW Championship. So there's a lot of like little bits and pieces starting to put in the right place to see when they're going to start activating some of these, these extra storylines that could happen, which it could be sooner rather than later. We were predicting maybe next year in the Diamond Battle Royal. It might actually be coming up before Double or Nothing. So we'll see how this continues to play out between Wardlow, MJF, CM Punk, Shawn Spears.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen sometime soon. That guy's a superstar, bro. Guys, if you're just tuning in right now, go ahead and give us a like on our Facebook page. We just dropped a brand new Facebook page on our Sportskeeda dedicated to everything AEW. Follow it. It's the Sportskeeda All Elite page. If you're just tuning in and you normally watch us on Facebook and you couldn't find us, normally it's because we're not broadcasting on our Sportskeeda Wrestling page. We're broadcasting on the Sportskeeda All Elite page. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, and subscribe. Tons of stuff for you guys on the daily. All right, man, let's continue here. We had some pretty good matches, man. We had the final of the TBS Tournament Championship for the TBS title. Jade Cargill going up against Ruby Soho. It was a really fun match to watch. We knew that this tournament was made for Jade, right? We knew. But when you look back at this match, Ruby did the very best she could, because Jade isn't like as seasoned as Ruby, right? So you can tell
it was evident in this match.
It was really evident that Ruby was doing the workload on this match, and my hat off to her, because she is a ring generalship. Plus, I think she's going to be the one to take it off of Ms. Britt Baker.
Yeah, and again, we finally get to a point where the AEW's women's division is in a really good place right now, because now we have the second title in the TBS, with the new TBS champion, Jade Cargill. In the middle of the match, we did have Mercedes Martinez, who, again...
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had a little run in there.
Yeah, so Mercedes cost Thunder Rosa a shot at this final, which, of course, as Mercedes came out in the match tonight, Thunder Rosa came out as well and fought her off. So like we have this nice little mashup that's going up for the TBS championship. On Battle of the Belts on Saturday, we are going to have the match between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Riho. So yeah, there's a lot of great talent now in the women's division. And we shifted, just like you said, from Ruby losing to Jade here. She had a backstage segment with Tony Schiavone where Britt Baker got involved. And even Ruby pointed out, like, you still haven't even beaten Riho. And you want to get in my business?
Just leave me alone. She's like, oh, hell no. She just told me not to leave me alone.
And just like that, we have this brawl going, and we have a tag match on Friday, right before the championship match, where Ruby is going to be teaming up with Riho to go up against Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker. So yeah, I can easily see Britt winning against Riho and immediately being in a storyline against Ruby Soho, and not being surprised if Ruby Soho, like you said, is the one to take it off of Britt Baker, and we can have Thunder Rosa, taken off of Jade. So like, now that we officially have a second title, I think this is going to be a nice platform for this women's division, because we can have these multiple storylines like we have with the TNT and the AEW Championship. So I think this is great. This is a perfect time to do it with the new year on the new channel. And Jade is a perfect person to have starting off as that champion.
I agree.
Man, this women's division is really kicking off great this year. And I'm looking forward to all the different dream matches that we're going to be getting. And we're getting, even though we're not a new match, we're getting hopefully the rubber match between Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida next Wednesday, as JR sat down with Serena Deeb, really talking about their rivalry that they've had recently. So hopefully this feud will come to an end, so then both of these ladies can go off either one of these titles, because that'll be another great addition to each division here.
Guys, I'm reading a lot of your comments. I've seen that Ricky Castillo is joining us on our YouTube stream. He's like, where the hell is the Facebook live stream? I didn't get the notification. All right, Ricky, I'm going to explain it one more time. I got it here for you. We have a brand new page that we're putting our Wednesday night show, the Debrief, on, and it is called the Sportskeeda All Elite page. So just make sure that if you normally watch us on Facebook, go ahead and head on over to the Facebook page, the Sportskeeda All Elite. Make sure you hit the like, hit the default, all right, so you can see first. So that way, when we drop brand new stuff for All Elite Wrestling, anything that's AEW related, you'll get that notification along with the Debrief show. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that right now. All right, man. What else did we see here on besides the TBS? Let's see, we got that.
Oh, we had the murder of Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, that was just he went for his signature, messed it up, and met his face with the foot. And then this amazing tag team championship match, the Lucha Brothers going up against Jurassic Express. When Jurassic Express finally getting a tag team title win in their first reign in 2+ years, dude. Crazy. About time. I'm really happy for them.
As much as it saddens me to have the Lucha Brothers lose those AEW tag team championships, there's so many good teams now. And they showed it after the match, where after Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus were given the titles, pretty much the entire tag team division came out on that stage and just reminded you just how freaking stacked it is when you have like FTR standing next to Red Dragon, you have Private Party over here, and there's just so many talented teams. And I did like how Bobby Fish and like Kyle O'Reilly just like pose the entire time, while everybody's just like still walking around and be like talking and all, and they just stood there the entire time, like just ready. So it just goes to show, like, this new year is gonna set off again. It's gonna be a great year for the tag team division. Which thoughts and prayers go out to Matt Jackson, who the Young Bucks revealed in their updated info on their Twitter page that Matt has COVID. So hence why we haven't seen any of the Young Bucks. Yeah.
Dang.
So they like update all these things, and then like, we book ourselves to be strong, all this stuff, and Matt has COVID. So like that's how they let everybody know that Matt Jackson has COVID. So hopefully he recovers quickly, because that's another tag team to add to this. But man, those are really great spots, and this was the highlight of Rey Fenix and Jungle Boy. Like those two guys.
It really was.
And JR even said it. It's like, these are arguably two of the best right now, especially the best high flyers, like, speedy, agile guys. Is these two guys. They had that nice little bit with all four of them where they're all like slapping each other, but you have Rey Fenix and Jungle Boy in the middle holding each other, and then they wind up doing the like springboard arm drag. Like,
Yeah.
these two guys are so amazingly talented. So it's great to see all these guys in the ring. It does look like, and you guys are mentioning it a lot in the chat, so there was a spot where Luchasaurus basically choke slams Rey Fenix through a table that's ringside, and it looks like Rey might have really damaged his arm, and even Luchasaurus, because he looked like he was holding it up too.
Yeah, I saw some people on Twitter were saying, I don't think Rey Fenix's arm was supposed to bend like that. It did look pretty gnarly. I hope that he's okay. But dude, this match was crazy. This was like a video game highlight reel of movesets throughout the entire match, right? It was just like everything you would put in your character on a 2K WWE game, right? And all you're hitting is your signature moves. And that's what it was. That's what it was. All the power moves, all the signature moves, and everybody's kicking out of your finishers, right? It was awesome to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome to watch. But that first match of the night, dude, that match is just insane.
Oh, of course. And just imagine when they start pulling the trigger for Jungle Boy to be in that main event title. Like, he survived the Fear Factor on the apron. It's where Penta had his legs on the top turnbuckle, hit him with the Fear Factor on the apron. They went inside the ring. He hit him with the Fear Factor inside the ring itself, and he kicked out of it. Somehow Jungle Boy just, as soon as he kicked out of it, that's when you kind of knew they were going to win. But he kicks out of that. There was a spot where it looked like they were going to put Jungle Boy away, and the lights go out. So I had to text you this earlier because after Malachi Black defeated Brian Pillman Jr., the Lucha Brothers come out because, as Excalibur kept reminding everybody, that Pac got blinded by the mist from Malachi Black. That's why he hasn't been on TV. So they came out to the ring. Malachi Black turns the lights off. He teleports back to the ramp, so he's able to get away. And then they had the Lucha Brothers go back to the backstage to then come out after Jurassic Express for the match. And in the middle of the match, the lights go out. So as they're getting ready to hit a double team on Jungle Boy, the lights go out. So it looks like we're still going to get a storyline between Malachi Black and the Death Triangle. And just like, who mentioned it? Somebody mentioned in the chat. Yeah, Ricky Castillo and Steven Chambers. I was thinking the exact same thing. I thought in that moment we were going to have Brody King make his debut. That didn't happen. The House of Black is going to be here soon, just not yet. So probably now, it was probably going to happen now that Rey Fenix might have to recover from this injury. It might be postponed a little bit, but it looks like that's kind of where we were going.
Christopher Ryan Cooper watching us on Facebook saying, Rico, that arm was bent backwards, bro. I can't believe they showed the replay. Yeah. I can't believe it either. It's probably going to be out for a while, maybe. Victor Nash, Jose, I'm glad Hangman and Danielson wasn't the first blood match, right?
Quick.
That would have been done in 9 minutes, dude. That would have been done in 9 minutes. Let's see here. So yeah, man. So overall, what did you think of tonight's Dynamite? How do you score 1 through 10? You guys too, who are watching right now, how do you score AEW Dynamite tonight? The first one on TBS. Keep in mind, we got 3 title matches and 2 title changes. So I thought, well, 1 title change and 1 new champion. So I thought this was an excellent show, Rico. I've never given AEW higher than an 8.5. And tonight, I'm giving it a 9.
This is a 9. This is a 9 show easily. Yeah.
Tonight was a good show from top to bottom. Hell of a opening match with the AEW World Title. The inaugural TBS final with Ruby Soho and Jade Cargill. That tremendous tag team match at the end, dude. It was just from top to bottom, absolutely great. Barely any vignettes, barely any backstage interviews. We had some small little things like with a Serena Deeb here and there, but it didn't last very long. So I liked the show. It was really focused on the matches because it was their first time on TBS. Giving it a 9.
Yeah, no, solid 9. I think the only way you can get a 10 is if you do have like Brody King and the House of Black be debuted against the Lucha Brothers or somebody else, or even like you guys are saying here, Steven Chambers. Yeah, imagine if the Briscoes would have showed up tonight. Like that could be that and Miro showing up in like an impromptu TNT Championship match, winning it from Cody Rhodes. That would have made it a 10. But other than like you said, every single spot was great. And not only for tonight, but also setting up the matches for Friday and Saturday. They're setting up 2 shows all at the same time, having this TBS premiere. I thought AEW start off fantastic. This is how you start off the new year on Dynamite. So amazing job, AEW.
Completely agree. And it looks like a lot of you guys that are watching scoring it pretty similar. I see some 8s, some 9s. I see a 12 by Ricky Castillo. It's kind of like that girl that's getting interviewed on TikTok. I don't even see that video. He's like, oh, how would you rate me? 1 through 10, 12.5. Guys, if you're just tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the show here on the Debrief, where we break down NXT and AEW Dynamite weekly, every single night, every single Wednesday night at 10:05 p.m. or in the 10:05, 10:30 hour, depending on the type of matches or things that happen during the show. But guys, make sure you are hitting liking, sharing, and subscribing on our YouTube channel. And make sure you are following our brand new Sportskeeda All Elite page on Facebook. We normally broadcast on our Sportskeeda Wrestling page, but this is still a little extension of that page. But it's an All Elite page where we put all AEW content there. So make sure you are liking that and setting your notifications to see first, so that way you get your notifications when we go live. Rico, let's jump into NXT 2.0. New Year's Evil. Man, this show delivered. This show was just as good as Dynamite. Like it's a different show. There's two. It's different settings,
yeah.
It's two different shows, right? Two different settings. You know, have something that's in a building, but it didn't take away from how good we had. We had all these title matches. We had a women's title match, triple threat. We had the main title, NXT title match. Then we had a tremendous 6-man tag with Riddle and MSK and Imperium with Walter, which was great. And Walter, looking absolutely shredded.
He slimmed so far down.
Down. He looks like he's lost like a good 25, maybe 30 pounds. You can start seeing abs on Walter. He went from abs, Walter in all capitals to just Walter with a capital W.
Just a normal Walter now.
he looks just a normal Walter now, but he still looks great.
I wouldn't have pictured a Walter with abs until I saw it last night.
Bro, imagine that he just keeps working, but he comes back like an absolute unit, bro. Like with the 12-pack and he has traps upon traps, but just like an absolute unit.
He might like get there at this point.
Street Fighter. Like a character from Street Fighter.
Exactly. That's what he's starting to look like. He's getting closer and closer to looking like Zangief every single day. Just without the chest hair. But before we got to that match, man, they kicked off New Year's Evil with the title unification match. Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong.
Starting off hot.
Man,
love that match, dude. That match was absolutely great. Another black and gold versus 2.0 situation here with Roderick Strong being the holdover from Black and Gold. And by the way, if you guys didn't catch our top story earlier, bunch of NXT releases. Hachiman, part of those round of releases from the Diamond Mine. They didn't have anything in store for him, so bye-bye. Pero this match, badass, dude. This match was great. Carmelo shot and did not miss, and now he is the undisputed North American champion. Because they're not going to call it the North American Cruiserweight. They're completely eliminating the Cruiserweight title division, and now he is the undisputed or the unified North American champion. I thought this match delivered, bro. What'd you think?
Oh, yeah. And it's clear that there's, the three pillars right now of NXT 2.0 is Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, and Bron Breakker. Because, man, ever since they put him in that North American Championship, the breakout tournament, ever since they put Melo in that breakout tournament, they've clearly been behind him. Even before that, when his first match was against Adam Cole, baby. They have high hopes for Carmelo Hayes, and he continues to deliver every single time he's in the ring. And then partnering him up with Trick Williams, I thought is great, because now just the chemistry between them is awesome. You put him in the ring with somebody as talented as Roderick Strong, who, again, like I've always said for the longest time, he's like the Dolph Ziggler of NXT, because he can make anybody look good. He's just a solid worker, and he sold for Carmelo Hayes. So he made him look great. Want to see where they're going to continue to go with this undisputed NXT North American champion.
Was
So
he
we'll see who's
trying?
next.
Now there was a one spot in that match. Was he trying to do a end of heartache from the top rope?
I
Like
have no idea what that move
What?
was, but it looked crazy, and I'm glad Carmelo didn't get hurt. Like,
yeah, I thought Carmelo might have landed on
I
his
had
neck
no
there. That was
idea.
really scary.
And even Vic and Wade didn't know what to make heads or tails because it looks like it was trying to turn into like a Spanish fly of some sort, but like it didn't get to that point. It looked like Melo tried to turn into like a cutter somehow. I don't know. It looked crazy. It looked dangerous. It looked cool. And it wound up leading Carmelo Hayes to the win after he hit the top rope leg drop. So I'm just glad both guys survived that move, whatever that was supposed to be. And Carmelo Hayes is going to lead this North American division going forward.
We got Steven Chambers saying he'd like to see a rematch with Hayes and Strong.
Yeah.
Victor Nash saying it was the best NXT since it became NXT 2.0. I have to agree with that. But besides Halloween Havoc, I thought Halloween Havoc was pretty good. But New Year's Evil, really this special definitely delivered. We did have a couple different segments. We had a segment with AJ Styles and Grayson Waller bringing his Grayson Waller effect to NXT 2.0. Great segment. We had a little semi-altercation, but at the end of the night, we had, at the end of that segment, Grayson Waller wants to have the lights and the spotlight for him to shine after accepting AJ Styles' match challenge for next week, because AJ wanted to fight last night, right? He wanted to go last night. He was in gear. He was ready to go. He was like, come on in here, grow a sack, all right? Grow a sack, and let's fight. He's like, nah, we're going to save this for the spotlight, for the main event. We're going to save it for next week. So next week, we're getting AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, going up against the Australian, the most hated man in NXT, Grayson Waller.
Oh, man. But he's right. It's going to be the main event for next week. So congratulations, Grayson Waller, getting your main event, continuing to hog that spotlight in NXT 2.0. So, yeah, Victor Nash saying that was supposed to be an X-Plex from the top rope, which, yeah, that's what it looked like it could have been. It just looks like it could have gone a lot worse than it did, but it looked pretty cool coming off the top rope, so I'm down to see that. But, man, one match, which I got to ask you also. So there was rumors saying that Jeff Hardy was supposed to be the original Shaman when it came to MSK, but I feel like that wouldn't have been as good as the match as we got last night with Riddle teaming up with MSK for the 6-man tag match. And I feel like if it was Jeff Hardy, they would have lost. But it's Riddle. It is one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, even using the RKO to get the win, to help set up the win for his team. But, man, just like you said earlier, I love seeing Walter in NXT proper instead of the NXT UK. I hope if he's not going to be here for an NXT title run, that they put him to main roster quick and bring up the rest of Imperium with them, because those three guys together make an amazing team. They look great.
Absolutely.
And they really helped MSK look really good. But, of course, they had the power of the Bro with them on their side. Even though I didn't really like Nash's hair. That looked a little too much. With the
what are you talking about? That side ponytail with the colorful purple and green?
Yeah, it kept reminding me of somebody, and I just couldn't think of who. But I was like, all right. But MSK getting the win, and they got a nice little rub from Matt Riddle. So do you think this is going to help them going forward? Are you sold on MSK now with their allegiance with Riddle?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how they do without Riddle next week. We'll see when they don't have that Riddle rub, will the crowd still be behind them? That's important, right? Because when they did, as champions or on their way to champions, people turned their back on them really quick. Like people just were not feeling them out. Now that we got that Riddle rub, maybe that'll help them out. But that was a tremendous matchup for MSK and Riddle. I love the remix of the theme and the entrance. I thought that was cool with the DJ doing his thing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this Von Wagner promo real quick, right? Now, Von Wagner is well aware that he ain't very well liked in the CWC. People just don't like him. A lot of you guys that watch us don't like him. I think it's either Christopher Ryan Cooper or Ricky Garcia that says that his eyebrows and his forehead just freak him out, right? That was pretty evident last night, and he just used it as fuel and delivered actually not a bad promo. He didn't stutter too much on himself, but he definitely delivered a better promo than he has since he's kind of made his way into NXT. And in the midst of all this has having a promo with Chase, with Andre Chase. Andre Chase starting to get over with the fans, right? His guy that saved them last week from Harlan, that he almost threw him off the building. He was in the crowd and he was just cheering him on. And he got in Von Wagner's face, and Von Wagner pulled him out. And then Von Wagner started swinging at people in the crowd. Now, I don't know 100% if this is a work or not, and you guys may disagree with me, but I don't think that signal was supposed to happen, especially because the 3 or 4 people that were in that front row, I know those people, and those people, I think they work in the business. So I'm thinking that there is a little bit of both. But dude, how crazy! He's just swinging at the fans. He's like, oh hell no! What? No, you don't.
Our boy,
yes, exactly.
Our boy Jake Patrick was over there. He was one of the guys that was in that front row that was in that segment. So yeah, they even posted some of the videos, him and some of the guys that he was with. Like, it looked insane, and it did a really good job of actually, making Von Wagner seem more intimidating than his eyebrow and his forehead.
It looked like it was a shoot. Yes. Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing you need from him, to give him some sort of character, like something deeper than just looking like the caveman from the Geico commercial. So yeah, so this gives him a nice little edge to it that, it doesn't matter who you are. These hands are ready to eat for everyone, whether you're a wrestler or you're just somebody in the fan. So
I can't with y'all. I can't with y'all. I'm reading some of y'all comments, and y'all are just getting wild right now. Like, look at there. Some people have 1% Neanderthal DNA. Van Wagner only has 1% Homo sapien DNA. I told you, man. He's the brother of the Geico guy, the Geico caveman, dude.
He's gonna be Captain Caveman, but even that. We'll see if that's going to be enough to get him over with the rest of the crowds. But one person that doesn't have any problem getting over with the crowd, and even though it's not the most unique or, the first time we've seen this kind of entrance, Mandy Rose having a champion's entrance when it came to New Year's Evil, getting dropped off by the helicopter. I wonder if it's the same helicopter that Charlotte Flair used in order to come out for her match. But she came out with style in this triple threat match between Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade, which I kind of felt this way going forward, like this was going to happen. But how did you feel about this match with Mandy Rose retaining her title against, the former NXT Women's Champion and Raquel Gonzalez, Big Mommy Cool, and this young up-and-comer Cora Jade, who got, the 2 sneaky wins over Mandy Rose, including getting the win at War Games for her team against Mandy Rose. How did you think this match looked?
I think this is the right thing to do, man. I think this is, especially, you're protecting Raquel Gonzalez because she didn't get pinned, right? Cora Jade can take the pin because she's still really young. She's getting started in the business. And you'll get that little bit more fan heat, from the NXT universe on Mandy Rose because she is the heel, right? Mm-hmm. You're supposed to hate the heel. And she did it in the sneakiest of ways. And she didn't cheat. She just did a really tight tucking pin at the very last moment. And that just shows her in-ring experience compared to Cora Jade's. So I think this was just a good way to tell the story of the inexperience of Cora Jade compared to why Mandy Rose is champion while keeping Raquel Gonzalez strong, because Raquel Gonzalez dominated that entire match.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I don't have much to add to that because what you said is right. They're just continuing to develop this young girl in Cora Jade, and it's a nice, nice match to put her in against 2 experienced wrestlers with Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. So Cora's going to have her time. She's going to be hopefully a mainstay in this women's division. She's really young, and they can really develop her into, being one of those next superstars. Hopefully fares better than Liv Morgan's doing right now on Raw. But, she seems to be getting over the crowd, but right now it's really about, Raquel Gonzalez. And how much longer do you think she's going to be able to stay on NXT before they pull her up to the main roster?
I would say kind of similar, like what they did with Ripley last year, right after New Year's Evil, maybe a few weeks after she'll make her debut. I think just in time for the Rumble, and then
I would
I
not
could
be mad of Raquel
I could
in the
see
Women's
I
Royal
could
Rumble.
see I could see her in the Women's Royal Rumble and making her way either probably SmackDown, because SmackDown needs more women right now, especially that on Raw. It is stacked. So I think Raquel Gonzalez can be one could potentially take the belt off of Charlotte Flair at some point down the road if she still has it till WrestleMania, because there's really nobody else that I can think of on SmackDown, not yet,
Well,
that can really.
Somebody's coming back soon, so we'll see if hopefully Bailey is going to be able to shake things up. So
I hope it's Bailey.
Bring
I
her back
hope
on
Bailey comes
SmackDown.
back soon. Yeah, but SmackDown is in desperate need of women now that Tony Storm ain't there no more. So, you can't keep doing Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the next 7 months.
Yeah, it's WWE and they love Charlotte Flair, so don't be surprised if it does happen. But yeah, hopefully getting some of these women either from NXT
Give
or
her a
even
title reign
returns.
just like Reigns, right? Give her a title reign just like Reigns. Just
Super year
just
long.
Let her have a 2-year reign.
Because why not? This keeps her from breaking her dad's record faster, rather than having it happen right away. But speaking of possible call-ups to the main roster, man, this main event match, NXT Championship match.
So
Bronson Rick Steiner himself with his dad in attendance, and they didn't really say a whole lot about it on TV. We had a lot of videos and stuff what happened afterwards, which I thought was amazing.
Plenty about it today on the bump. They talked about it a lot,
so
quite a bit actually.
Again, a great match between these two, and this told another great story where it was all about Tommaso Ciampa waiting for Braun to make that mistake, because that's what happened last time in their match. Braun made one mistake; he slipped off that second rope, and that led to the fairy tale ending and him retaining his title. This time, Braun was set to not make that mistake, and he was very careful in everything that he did. And man, I love the fact that I hope this is the new setup for his finisher, because not only did he do the press slam into the power slam, he did the bulldog off the top rope, a la his father, and then he got the submission win with the Steiner recliner, thanks to good old Uncle Papa Pump, and he became the new NXT champion. And they said, in only his 12th match that he has had so far, he's already NXT champion. And the spot that they didn't show on TV, which I thought was great, was as soon as the match was over, because when they gave him the title, Tommaso looked at him and he gave him the nod. So he gave him the nod of approval. It was like, all right, it's your time now, pup, young pup. But he went out of the ring and he shook Rick Steiner's hand. And then afterwards, Rick Steiner came into the ring and he held up his son's hand with the NXT title. So it was a nice feel-good moment for the Rick Steiner. So we talked about it before. I would not be surprised if he doesn't last NXT the rest of this year. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up on the main roster before the end of 2022. And I would not be surprised if he comes out with another name of Rick Steiner.
I can see him at the Royal Rumble too. That's another guy that I could see making his way into the Royal Rumble and possibly eliminating Johnny Knoxville, right? Like, he comes in there and he just eliminates and just throws Johnny Knoxville with a belly to belly suplex over the top rope, like some stupid shit like that. So, dude, I've said this many, many times before. Bron Breakker is what is going to be the guy. Bron Breakker versus Roman Reigns, passing of the torch. I can see that happening. I can totally see that happening. I think that'll be a tremendous matchup.
Yeah, because when you look at it, like, Roman's run through everybody on SmackDown, and of course now the rumor is it's gonna be still Brock versus Roman at the Rumble, some Survivor Series-esque type match, maybe with a unification of the WWE Universal Championship. We'll see.
Well, for WrestleMania probably, but for Royal Rumble, bro, it's gonna be Brock versus Bobby Lashley, bro. The dream match.
Well, I'll say, like, so Roman's gone through everybody, so they haven't really set up anybody to take that title off of him. So don't be surprised if it is going to be a guy, whether it's in 3 to 5 to 8 months time, of one Rex Steiner being debuted on Monday Night Raw alongside either his dad or his uncle at this point to really
give him all the championships.
Give him all the belts, man. Have him be the one to dethrone
have
Roman.
Him beat Roman Reigns with the NXT title, and then do like what Kevin Owens did and step on that Universal title.
On that Blue Universal
That'll
title.
put some eyes. That'll put some eyes on NXT.
If you want to top Kevin Owens' debut, that is how you would do Bron Breakker. If he defeats Roman clean
on that Universal title and hold that new multicolored NXT title whenever it drops. Because I have a feeling we're going to get a revamp of the title sometime down the road.
Yeah.
I think. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight's show. Before we head out, go ahead and rate your thoughts of NXT 2.0's New Year's Evil. I am going to also give New Year's Evil a 9. Rico, fantastic matches. Some interesting backstage stuff with Boa, with some other things. I really kind of tuned those things out. But the matches itself, man, those matches were good. The title change with NXT with Bron Breakker, it's the era is finally ushered in with that title win.
Officially the NXT 2.0 era here in 2022, but I just can't bring myself to give it the same score as tonight's show in AEW. So I'm gonna give it an 8.5. And only because we talked about how AEW, each segment was important, whether it was for tonight or if it was to set up, for Friday or for Saturday, each thing was important. Here we had, again, like you said, the backstage segment with Boa. We also had the backstage segment with Persia Perota and Indy Hartwell. So now Persia's going to go 2-on-1 against Team Ninja because she's still trying to solidify herself. And she's like, no, you're still, in your whole thing with Dexter Lumis. So she's going to take on Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter 2-on-1, even though they said this is their year to be in the women's tag team champions. And because they officially announced also where you're going to get
the Dusty Classics back.
And we're going to get the women's one, and they're going to do it a month apart. So in 2 weeks, the men's start, and then the women's is going to start after that. So they're actually going to coincide at the same time. So it actually gives focus to each tournament, which I think is great. I would assume the clear runners would be Team Ninja. We'll see if it gets that far. But then they also showed Wendy Chu, who was like, hey, who are you? He's like, I'm Wendy Chu.
I'm Wendy Chu.
And then she's like, went back to go to sleep.
Now I can't wait to see her actually do her stuff in the ring because I feel like she is gonna be one bad bitch. Like I feel like she's just gonna take her sleeping mask off. She's gonna put her tumbler down. She's gonna take off her onesie, and she's gonna be like,
like she's gonna be
whoop that ass.
Like Orange Cassidy in a sort of way, where like it's very unassuming, and you think like, oh, you're not gonna take her seriously, and then she gets in the ring, and then she's gonna be crazy and saying good. So I'm looking forward to that. But because like it's like hinting at things, but didn't really allude to anything serious. That's why I can't bring myself to give it a 9. But it was a really, really good show. Hey, it was the best NXT show of 2022. That I can tell you for a fact.
It was the best NXT show
of
the 2.0 of the 2.0 era so far. We got some of you guys commenting, very, very nice. Reese Lewis watching us on YouTube. Great show, guys. Tonight he's giving tonight's NXT or Tuesday night's NXT an 8. And a lot of you guys sounding off in the comments. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. I love this comment here by CRC. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Now I know I gave AEW an 8.5, but I'm only doing this because I'm comparing NXT to past NXT shows. But I'm giving NXT a 9. See?
Nice. That's fair. And that's completely fair, CRC.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, talking AEW, talking NXT. We'll be back next week. Remember, we do have a brand new Facebook page, so go ahead and head on over there right now. If you normally watch us on Facebook, hit the like button on the Sportskeeda All Elite page, all right? Hit the like button. On the like side, make sure you also set your notification to see first, so that way you get that little chime whenever we go live. If you normally watch us on YouTube, thank you so much. We're well on our way to 25,000 subscribers. So go ahead and keep on showing us the love by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and smashing that notification bell. Tomorrow night, Thursday, we got the Bro Show on Instagram. That's going to be at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time Friday morning. So go ahead and check that out. That's with DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, Vince Russo, and Dr. Chris Featherstone Friday night, we got Dirty Dutch Mantel, Rico Chino, and SP3 breaking down everything you need to know for SmackDown and AEW Rampage. Don't know yet if we're doing a special Battle of the Belts recap, but if anything, we'll do a short video on that. And then on Monday nights, we got Vince Russo. All right, so we got the Legion of Raw with Dr. Chris Featherstone and Vince Russo. So check that out every Monday night. Again, we got the top story every afternoon at 6:30 p.m. covering the top headlines in the world of wrestling. So if you want wrestling content, we got wrestling content, hours and hours and hours of it, okay? And if you can't watch or if you don't want to watch it and you prefer to listen to it, guess what, guys? We are in the top 100 wrestling podcast charts in the United States. So go ahead, find us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review, 5 stars, so that way we can get found by everybody else and we can chart up even higher in the wrestling charts in the United States. So we thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We will be back next week. Follow us on our socials at Jose G Official, at Rico El Glorioso on Instagram and on Twitter. And we'll be back next week with another episode of The Debrief. And remember, guys, when we are watching wrestling and when you are watching wrestling, you have to do the most important thing, which is ¿qué, Rico?
Enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling.
Yeah. Y nos fuimos. We're out of here.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!